So is there any questions, something that is difficult for you right now, something that you feel that you cannot keep advancing? Is there some problem that you have right now with your listening, with your speaking or reading, writing? Is there something difficult right now?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course.
I think I have trouble with the listening and the reading part because I practice those parts every day, and I always have the same score, and I don't know why I cannot improve in those parts. So I think I'm in serious trouble with that
Okay.
part.
Okay. Now, what it will be interesting to know. Now, what is the score that you're having right now?
Some of the time 6, other time 5.5, and other 5. It depends on the
Okay. What is your score in the reading part, approximately?
the reading 5.5.
What are the scores on the writing part, more or less?
Writing 7, 6.5.
Okay, so the problem is with perception. Okay. One is the production. One is the production, which is actually the writing and the speaking, right? So I can check that out, that it's you manage, you have been speaking in English, so you manage. And then in the writing, you'll be getting like 7 and 6.5, you manage. Now, what about the perception? This is what I see the problem is, the listening and the reading. Okay, good. Now, usually it's the other way around. I mean, usually the listening and reading is not that much of a problem, but it is in the part of the production. In your case, is the opposite. Now, in the listenings, what are the things that you say, okay, I don't get better scores, so I don't, but what is the specific problem or problems that you are having in the listening? Is that is it difficult for you to follow the listening? Is it difficult for you to try to understand the ideas and try to associate the ideas that you are listening with what you are reading, or you getting lost sometimes? See, what kind of problems
Sometimes
are you having?
I got lost in the listening part, and I think when I have directions, that's horrible for me. And I'm trying to practicing on YouTube and following those some videos about directions. And in the listening part, most of the times I have problem with not the part that says yes, no, and not given. I always confuse with no and not given, and I don't know why. I try to, but for me, sometimes the answer is no, and I'm totally sure that the answer is not given, and sometimes it's different.
In the listening, you said in the listening you get lost.
Yes.
Now, trying to understand the listening, do you understand? I mean, overall, do you understand what you are listening?
Yes.
Okay, so you just get lost sometimes.
Yes.
Between 1% and 1% and 100%, what you are listening, what percentage you are understanding? Like 50%, 60%, 70%, 80% in general?
I think 85, 90%.
All right, so the problem is the attack. All right, so that's the problem. Now in the reading, false and not given. So the problem is actually in the associations of sentences. So we have in the reading, we have problems of associating the sentences, and in the listening, we have problems with the attack. I mean, like trying to understand. Now, I'm going to give you some homework, all right? As the problem is in the perception part of our skills, more than the productive, I mean, the production of our language, I am going to give you a homework, and I like you to start working on this. First, write down. The next time you get lost in the listening, just first, when you get lost, just try to wait for the next transition to happen. So let us check this. So then we're going to go to this false and not given, but let us see first what we are going to do when we get lost. In the listening, getting lost, all right? So let's say that this is the listening. That's one sentence. That is a transition. That's another sentence. That is a transition. That's another sentence. Another transition, another sentence. Another transition, and so on, right? Until it finishes. Let us say that you start understanding this, right? But then for some reason, when you are about here or about here, you start getting lost. Now, this is normal. Why? Because the different ways of the language, I mean, because it's a different language, and the way that the vowels and consonants are used, that is the reason we get lost. For instance, vowels, the A changes the sound depending on the words. The E changes the sound depending on the words. So it's all this variation of vowels, A, E, I, O, U, it's all this variation of vowels in different words what makes us think a little bit faster, or we try to catch up this faster. You don't understand this consciously. It's your subconscious mind is, is trying to catch up with all this. Is that we get lost. We start getting like, behind, and then we become lost. So a good technique for you to do is be aware. Let's say that you get lost in here. Boom, lost. You understood this sentence, the transition. You understood this sentence, the transition. This is the transition. Let's say that transition here was a silence. The transition here was the word also, whatever, right? So you got the sentence, you understood, transition, there was a silence, next sentence, you understood, also, but in this sentence, you got lost, in the third sentence, or in the second sentence sometimes. What I want you to do is start practicing without doing the test, without like trying to get correct answers. You just need to practice attack, and just need to practice recovery. So you need to recover from getting lost. And the best way to do this is that you need to wait until the next transition comes. For instance, you get lost here. First, you have to do, okay, I got lost. Now calm down and wait. Don't push to understand. Don't try to push. Just wait a moment, wait a second, and wait until any transition comes, like a silence, or the word but, then, also, yes, no, and, or connectors, however, besides. Any transition comes. So you need to catch and you need to calm down until the next transition comes. When you hear the next transition, then you retake back your concentration. And then again, you try to understand, right? This is the key point that you need to catch again. And then you concentrate again into the next idea, into the next sentence. Would this be something that you can do? Would you think that this is going to help you? If you think about it and you relate this to your situation or not. Probably it could be not. I mean, maybe it's not the solution. So we look for the solution.
Okay.
Because I infer that by understanding 85 to 90% what we are listening to, then the moments we get lost are all about just trying to get back into concentration again. So that is basically what. Now it's happened to you that you have like between 3 and 4 answers all wrong together. I mean, like 3 or 4 answers in the listening, they are all wrong together, or the wrong answers are separated.
That it depends. When I get lost, you know, I start getting nervous and I lost my concentration, and I think I can maybe 2 or 3 answers. I can answer those that part because I'm trying to.
Okay, so we are hitting into blockage. I mean, you just you get disconcentrated because you just got lost.
Yes.
Yes. All right. So basically what you need to do first, I'm going to write down a homework for you here, so you have to follow. But this is the theory that is happening right now. We need to look for some specific things to do in order to regain that kind of control that we lose in the listening. Okay. So the things that you have to do are the following. So number 1, when I become lost, just wait for the next transition. Oops. Wait for the next transition. This is something that not a lot of students and candidates do. They don't wait for the next transition. They usually get more nervous.
Yes.
And this is what we have to stop. What we have to stop is this process of getting nervous. And I'm going to explain you this process so that you understand the process. This is what happens. I got lost. I get lost, right? Second, I become aware that I'm lost. This intrinsically means I lost the control. Third, you start getting anxious because you need to retake this control. You need to understand what is happening because you need to answer the questions. As you are getting more anxious and there is no positive response from the source, from the world in that moment, right, from the listening, then you start becoming now nervous. And it's not only your mind, but also your entire body which becomes nervous. Your muscles start tensing more. The more your muscles tense, the more nervous we become, then there is a sense of, inside of you, there is a sense of threat. There is a sense of threat or danger, right? This is not true. We are not going to die. But this system works similarly. So it's like you are feeling threat. You're feeling threatened, like now you're nervous. What happens next, as you couldn't respond to the anxiety, as you are not able to respond to the nervousness, then you become frustrated. Therefore, there is a combination between being anxious, nervous, and frustrated. What is the result of this? The result of this is not quite positive because then we become blocked. We blocked ourselves, right?
Really frustrating.
Excuse me?
It's really frustrating for me.
Exactly. So frustration is what the outcome of all this situation. Now, we need to be able to cut this process, okay? And to cut this process, because the problem is not English. we can easily see that the problem is not English. If the problem, it's simple. I mean, look the way you speak English. And in the writings, in the production, you're getting 6.5 and 7s.
Yeah,
And you're potentially more than that. So the problem is like perception. When you receive the information, we need to learn how to process this information and to gain control over this information. So this is what we're going to do. First step is when you get lost, calm down, wait for the next transition. Practice this. Free practice. All right, so don't do test for the next week or for the next days. Don't do test. I mean, go to the practice test, but don't try to push and do test. Just try to do this exercise only. Just listen and try to understand the sentences, the main idea, transition, sentence, main idea, transition, sentence, main idea. Oh, got it lost? Okay, wait. Transition. However, boom, and get back to concentration. When you get back to, yes?
I'm sorry, is that okay if I repeat the same exercise again, or I can't do that?
It's perfectly okay. And it's not only okay, it's the most recommended thing to do. Why? Because when you repeat this exercise over and over again, when you repeat this mode of understanding, or when you repeat this mode of getting back to concentration, control, and understanding of the listening, you are training your audition to adopt this pattern. You're training your audition to react in this mode. Okay. So your audition, you will start training your audition to concentrate, not to follow the other pattern, to follow the other negative pattern. Therefore, repeating this exercise with the same audio, repeating this exercise is teaching your audition, teaching your behavior, your auditive behavior, to start doing this other thing, to start concentrating into something in order to gain control and not to become lost, even though you are, but not to trigger this nasty response, right? It's like, oh, lost, anxious, nervous, frustrated, blocked. Okay. And just to get back to concentration out of this bad behavior, right? This bad escalating thing is going to take us a few minutes. So that is why we're going to have like 2 or 3, 4 wrong answers altogether, because we're not able to concentrate back. So this is basically this free practice. And don't worry about responding the questions correctly. Don't worry at all about those questions. Just go back. Maybe you can practice with tests that you have already done, tests that you have already finished. Just go back, retake your control back, and just do those exercises. Oh, I got lost here. Just go back and just, okay, let's see. Boom, transition. Oh, now I'm getting back to concentration again. So this is part of your analysis, okay? This is part of your analysis. Now, number 2, analyze the most difficult questions, or the most difficult answers.
You know, the last part of the listening is the more difficult, because you have to
because in the last paragraph
and write some words, and that part is really tough.
Because the last part, the speakers probably produce that English slightly faster, and they use some elements that because of vocabulary would be slightly higher than the vocabulary that is being used before. Therefore, these parts are slightly more difficult. But that is not the problem, and it's not a problem for you. The thing is, as we have gotten a better experience in this listening, right? Then we tend to, this is not personal, we tend to exaggerate those problems, and we tend to believe and start feeling that, oh, this is becoming even worse. I cannot get out of this trap. It doesn't matter. You are where you have to be. And now you are going to use a different technique to improve where you're coming from. So this is going to help us very much. The next exercise I want you to do, the next exercise, so this is what you have to do. So let us concentrate only in this, all right? Tomorrow, you start just getting these exercises, just go back to those questions, start listening again. Is, oh, wait, right, man, boom. Oh, that's a transition. Now I'm concentrated again. I lost one sentence, I lost one idea, but it doesn't matter. I am concentrated again. So you need to focus here on trying to, when you get lost, try to catch the next transition. Imagine that it was a silence, blah, 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 silence for 1 second, blah, blah, blah. Then you concentrate again and catch the main idea. Boom. Get lost, wait for the transition. The transition comes, concentrate on the idea, try to get the main idea again. See, become accustomed to rescue the idea after the transition. Rescue the idea after the transition. Rescue the idea after the transitions. And this will become your new behavior. Now you will be trained and training your audition to concentrate in something specific to get back to understanding of the next idea, to concentrate into something specific to get back to the next idea. And all this old behavior will fade away, will just drift away, actually. See, you're going to abandon that behavior because you have adopted a new way to do things. Now, secondly, it's all good that you dedicate some other kind of like 2 hours during the weekend to go to those answers that were very difficult for you and just analyze them and detect where you got lost. She says, okay, I'm going to detect this. I'm going to listen to this. I'm going to check the script, and I'm going to listen and read at the same time to see where I got lost, why I got lost. This is called self-behavior. Well, yes, I mean, this is not only for her, this is for everyone who got that problem. So I'm happy that it's helping you. Yes, of course. I mean, this is now, but we are not done yet. I need to move to something else now. Okay. I need to give you another mindset that you need to start adopting. So analyze the most difficult answers. So analyze them. Analyze, go back. Analysis is important because you're not learning English. You are working on abilities. Okay. As you work on abilities, the analysis of procedures, the analysis, someone has the, someone is with the microphone on. I think it's here. Right there. All right, to silence. Okay, I cannot silence you, Eduardo. I don't know why I cannot silence you. All right, so, well, that basic, so analyze the most, analysis. Why? Because you will become aware. You will become aware where you get lost, why you get lost. And this will perfectly complement the work that you are doing. So we are attacking the problem that you have from 2 different fronts. See, 2 different fronts. When we want to solve a problem, when we have a problem with the listening, with the reading, with the writing, whatever problem we have in the test, we always need to attack that problem from 3 different fronts. 3 is the secret number. 3 is the key number for learning, okay? For solving things. So you need to attack the problem with this exercise. You need to attack the problem with this analysis that you are going to do. See, dedicate 2 hours for this and dedicate 1 hour for this. 2 hours and just 1 to 1.5 hours. Now, if you have more time and you want to dedicate more time, go ahead. Just use more time. Ideally, yes, ideally, all right? Program yourselves to do this work because you are going to be detouring your attention. You are going to be refocusing your attention. What we need to do is to leave that frustration away. And the only way that we can leave that frustration away, and the only way that we can change this behavior that is happening, is that if we do something. Then if we do something, then the reality in front of us will change. The better results will come because we are going to be changing our mind. Now, we need one more thing that you need to do. And this is the following, and this is the next thing that you need to do. Okay, so you ready with this? Try to practice this for 1 week. 1 week. Every 2 days, like tomorrow, then Monday, then Wednesday, then that Friday. Every 2 days is okay. If you have more time, well, ideally for 1 week every day, then our mind should change the behavior then. We should be able to react in a different mode to what we are listening. Now, some aspects are important that you have in mind from now on. Number 3. Number 3. I have the feeling, so this is your brain. It's not a tomato, okay? It's a brain. This is your brain. There is a part of your brain. Where's my, oh, where did I leave the other, oh, right here. There is a part of your brain that is called the conscious mind. Conscious. The conscious mind. And there is a part of that is called the subconscious. The conscious mind and the subconscious. Both need to meet together and both need to have information for you to make changes sometimes, okay? For you to make changes quickly, all right? Because we usually refer too much about knowledge, or sometimes we need to practice a lot in order to finally change our behavior. But also we need to be aware and keep in mind the following. What I want you to do from now on, I want you to do 2 things, all right? The first one is with your conscious mind, your thinking processes, your awareness, okay? Every day from now on, I want you to start convincing yourselves that the IELTS is 2 things, not a test, it's a game. Oh, IELTS is a game. Isn't it a test? Forget about the test. Don't mention the word test. Don't think about the word test. Just, it's a game. It's a fun game. Sorry, we are in the listening, okay? Listening, yes, sorry about that. It's the listening, okay? The listening is a fun game. It's a game that I like to play, all right? I really love this game. I really like it, all right? Now, it's a fun game. Second, I forgot. Okay. The listening is a fun game. That's the first thing that you need to have, be thinking in your process. It's a fun game. It's a fun game. Oh, and the listening is part of my, what are you going to do? What are you looking forward to? I mean, are you going to study in another country? You're going to work? Are you looking for the express entry? I mean, what is your goal?
I'm going to work, but I need to do both tests, the academic and general.
Okay, but your final achievement is to work, right? I mean, you're going there to work.
Yes.
Okay, Andrea, and you study abroad. It doesn't matter. I mean, you put this works with your finality. I mean, this is your goal. Okay, so it's just like, oh, the listening Listening is the first part of my job there. The listening, think it, right? The listening is the first part of my job there. My job is starting not when I go there. My job is starting today. And the listening is my first task in my new job in England, in Australia, in Canada, wherever you're going, right? So you need to put that reality of your work today. And IELTS need to be a part of that. Why? Because that work is your dream. And you need to become more friend with the listening. The listening has to be not only in your worries, but the listening also has to be in your heart, in your desires, right? So when you are thinking about IELTS and you think about the listening, oh yeah, well, I'm already working there. I haven't traveled yet, but I'm working already in the, see, I got the first task in my new job in Canada or in Australia. I have to do some task in the listening. That is the first part of my work. Include the listening in your dreams. Include it. All this is going to have a big repercussion. You know where? Right here. Where the measure of our life is being happening, has been happening, right? In the subconscious mind. So what I want you to do is also so this is what you're going to do every day. This is the way you are going to think and believe. You are going to think and believe in this, okay? This is a game. It's a fun game to play. And the listening is my first task in my new job. Change the switch. If you change the switch, the reality will change. If you don't change the switch, the reality will not change, or it's going to take too long to change. All right? Put this in your mind, put this in your heart, follow what I'm saying and do it. Because I have 20 years of experience over this, and I've seen this work thousands of times, over and over again. This is your successful pattern. This is your successful route, right? Now, subconsciously, what you're going to do in your subconscious mind, you are going to change the image. You are going to change the reality. And you are going to, see, this process is working right here, mostly. A little bit of here, but mostly right here. You are attacking all your thoughts with new outcomes, with new motivations. And also, you need to change the outcome of your subconscious mind. You need to you need to try to work on all those blockages that you have in your subconscious mind. How do we do that? What I want you to do is to start changing this subconscious form of seeing this, to unlock that kind of blockage that you might have in the subconscious mind, those kind of limitations that there are in the subconscious mind that are very difficult to be accessed from here just by thinking, right? That doesn't work. So it says like, oh, let's see, now, Yoseli, do you know how to drive mechanic cars?
No.
Okay, do you know how to ride bicycles?
Yes.
Let us say that you go on a bicycle tomorrow and start riding the bicycle and start yelling very hard. I don't know how to ride a bicycle. I don't know. I'm going to fall. I'm going to fall. What do you think is going to happen? Do you think your subconscious mind will believe you and make you fall right away, and you're not going to be able to stand on that bicycle and keep going? Or your subconscious mind is not going to believe it, it's going to say, nah, I don't think you're going to fall. I think you know how to ride a bicycle, so just keep going. Keep yelling and keep going. All right? This is what happens. Imagine that I get in my car tomorrow, I'm sorry about that. So, if I had a bus, I said, oh, my bus, but I just, my car. What if I get in my car tomorrow and I start, see, I got a, shifting car. So it's like, and I start driving my car and I start yelling, I don't know how to drive. I don't know how to shift. Do you think my subconscious mind will believe me? And suddenly I will stop knowing how to drive a car? No, right? Because my subconscious mind is stronger, is actually bigger than the conscious mind. It's not going to believe me, right? So there are still some things that are tricking us, and there are still some things and some limitations that remain in the subconscious mind. This is very good and it's going to give us result, yes, but it has to be supported by our subconscious mind as well. How? With what we now give as feelings. You need to work also with your feelings. This will also help you, and this will also help you to repotentiate your chances in whatever you're looking for in your life. So what you're going to do is 2 or 3 times a day, you're going to close your eyes. Just close your eyes. Think about the country you're going. What country you're going?
Canada.
Canada, right? Think about Canada. Start thinking about you there with your husband, with your, I don't know, children, with people that you are meeting, with this new opportunity of work, and start flying away with that idea and start dreaming about that idea and start thinking about it, dreaming about, thinking about. The first moment that you have a sensation here, the first moment that you have a pleasurable sensation inside of yourself, that is the moment that you need to do something that is called anchoring. In the first moment that you start having that beautiful feeling inside of yourself, you just say to yourself right away, here, you bring this to your mind in order to make the connection to this to produce a better listening or a better result in the listening. All this dream, all this satisfaction, and all this dream come true thanks to the listening of the IELTS. That is the anchoring. All this beautiful, whatever you're doing there. I mean, it's like working, studying, whatever you do. I mean, there can be many chances, right? All this beautiful studies, job, life there, thanks to the listening of the IELTS. You know what you are doing? You are making I should have a bigger. I have one. It's right there. Maybe you can see it. It's right there. But I have to install it. So I will do that maybe next week. What you are doing is you are creating something that is called coherence. Coherence. You are thinking, feeling, and acting with the same pattern, in the same way. This is coherence, okay? Like the runa del movimiento, right? Is the coherence. So that coherence is what we need to actually advance much faster at a higher speed in obtaining better results at whatever we are doing. Because then you say, oh, this is beautiful, and this is perfectly coherent with this. Both things are coherent. So now you are thinking, feeling, and acting in the same way. This is what you need to do usually, and everyone else who is there, all right? This is what you need to do. The problem is that sometimes we don't advance in life, in the listening, in the reading, or whatever we are, or any part of life, because there is incoherence. there is not the same what I'm thinking, then what I'm feeling, then what I'm doing. One of those things is not coherent. Sometimes I'm doing something, but something that I don't like, but I think I have to do. Or sometimes I'm doing something that I think I shouldn't do, but I want to do. See, there is incoherence. So you need to reach a level of coherence between this hemisphere, I mean, this forms, not the hemispheres, but this form of processing information, which is actually the subjective form, the subconscious mind, the objective form, what you are doing, the conscious mind, and actually uniting this with your dream, okay? What you feel is the same as what you think, and what you feel and what you think is the same as what you do. This is called life coherence. And this is when your life starts changing. Your life will change. Your life will change when you reach coherence with what you're thinking and the same as what you're feeling and the same as what you are doing. When you reach that, then the runa del movimiento starts advancing. And then you reach whatever you want to reach, okay? So we're talking about the listening right now. So sometimes I start talking about life, okay? Forgive me for that. I mean, you know, I'm not as young as you are, so probably sometimes I start speaking a lot of things. So, so that is what you need to do. So reach this, try to start changing your patterns. What is going to be the result of this? That you are going to kill all those blockages, all those limitations that you have before you in order to perform and get a higher score. Simple as that. Good.